Bernie Madoff, I mean, just saying the name kind of sends chills down the spine of anyone who's ever, even thought about investing.
Yeah.
His $65 billion Ponzi scheme, it remains one of the largest financial frauds in history, right?
Absolutely.
And it impacted everyone from seasoned investors to, major charities. And it really, left people wondering if trust in the financial system could ever be restored.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the Madoff case?
What's that?
Well, it also has this unusual distinction, I think, of having the highest recovery rate of any major financial fraud.
Really?
Yeah. And so that's what we're going to dive deep into today.
Okay.
And we're going to be using excerpts from a document called Bernie Madoff Scandal PDF. Unprecedented 93.71% of investor losses returned. .pdf.
Okay.
It details how nearly 94% of investor losses were recovered.
Wow.
And culminating in a final payout of $131 million just recently.
That's really a fascinating twist, in a story that's usually all about devastation and loss.
Right.
I think it's easy to focus on the scale of Madoff's deception.
Right.
But the recovery effort itself, I think, offers some valuable insights.
Yeah.
And even, dare I say, a glimmer of hope.
Okay, so before we get into that, can we just quickly recap how this whole scheme even worked?
Sure.
Because it ensnared so many sophisticated investors.
Yeah, it's worth revisiting for sure.
Yeah.
So Madoff's strategy really relied on this kind of age-old tactic.
Okay.
Promising consistent above-market returns.
Right.
Which is incredibly alluring.
Of course, yeah.
Especially in a world where everyone's chasing the next big win.
Everyone wants to get rich quick.
Exactly.
Right.
And so people flock to invest with him.
Right.
Drawn in by this promise of, steady, reliable profits.
Mm-hmm.
But what they didn't know was that these returns weren't actually being generated through legitimate trading activities.
Okay.
Instead, Madoff was using money from new investors to pay off older ones.
Oh, wow.
Creating this illusion of a successful investment strategy.
So the classic Ponzi scheme structure.
Exactly.
But I think in this case, the timing of the collapse really amplified the impact, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It all unraveled in 2008.
Right.
At the height of the global financial crisis.
The worst possible time.
The worst time. I mean, the economy was already teetering on the brink.
Yeah.
And then this massive fraud implodes, wiping out the life savings of countless individuals and institutions.
Just added fuel to the fire.
It really did.
So, amidst all of this, the idea of recovering any substantial amount of money, it seemed almost laughable.
It seemed impossible.
Yeah.
Investors were really bracing for the worst.
Right.
Expecting to receive near pennies on the dollar, if anything at all.
Yeah.
The prevailing sentiment was just utter hopelessness.
Hopelessness.
But then,
yeah,
something remarkable happened.
Okay, so let's talk about that recovery process.
Oh, yeah.
What made it so different, so effective compared to other similar cases?
Right.
Who are the key players?
So there were two main entities that spearheaded this effort. The Department of Justice's Madoff Victim Fund,
Okay.
which was established specifically to compensate victims of the fraud,
All right.
and Irving Picard,
Okay.
who was the court-appointed trustee tasked with overseeing the recovery and distribution of assets.
Okay, so their approach, it wasn't just about seizing Madoff's personal assets, right?
No, not at all.
It sounds like they went much deeper than that.
Much deeper.
Yeah.
They adopted a multifaceted approach that went beyond simply tracking down Madoff's obvious assets.
Right.
Like real estate, artwork, investments, things like that.
Okay.
A crucial part of their strategy involved what's called clawing back funds.
Clawing back funds now, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what clawing back actually entails?
Sure. So essentially it means going after individuals and entities that benefited from the scheme,
Okay.
even if they were unaware of its fraudulent nature.
Oh, wow.
So let's say you received substantial profits from your Madoff investments over the years. Those profits weren't real. They were essentially stolen funds from other investors.
So even if you were an unwitting beneficiary,
Right.
you could be required to return those profits.
Exactly.
That must have been a rather complex and potentially controversial process.
Oh, it was certainly a delicate and intricate undertaking fraught with legal challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine having to explain to someone that their perceived financial gains
Right.
were actually ill-gotten and needed to be returned.
Yeah. It sounds like a logistical and legal nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a massive undertaking for sure.
So how did they even determine who was subject to these clawbacks?
Right.
Is it just based on profit, or were there like other factors involved?
Yeah, it wasn't as simple as just targeting anyone who made money.
Okay.
They had to meticulously trace the flow of funds,
Wow.
distinguishing between legitimate returns and those that were derived solely from the Ponzi scheme structure.
Right.
This involved analyzing decades of financial transactions,
Oh my.
which required, specialized forensic accounting expertise
Yeah.
and a deep understanding of financial markets.
So this wasn't just like brute force asset recovery. It required a high degree of financial and legal finesse.
Precisely, Picard and his team. They employed a range of sophisticated legal strategies
Okay.
to maximize the recovery.
Right.
One notable tactic involved invoking the net equity rule,
Okay.
which allowed them to claw back profits even from investors who had withdrawn less than they had invested overall.
Oh, wow.
So this approach recognized that even those who appeared to have lost money on paper
Right.
might have still benefited unjustly from the scheme's artificial returns.
That's a really nuanced point.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this wasn't just about recouping funds, but also about establishing a sense of fairness for those who were truly harmed by Madoff's actions.
Oh, absolutely. The goal was to ensure that the genuine victims,
Right.
those who had suffered actual losses,
Yeah.
were prioritized in the recovery process. It was about achieving a sense of equitable distribution, even if it couldn't fully erase the damage that had been done.
Right. It sounds like a massive undertaking.
It was.
So were there any specific examples of how this clawback process played out in practice?
Oh, there were numerous cases, each with its own complexities.
Yeah.
One prominent example involved the Fairfield Century Funds,
Okay.
which was a group of hedge funds that had invested heavily with Madoff. While these funds had technically lost money in the collapse,
Right.
Picard argued that they had previously received billions in fictitious profits,
Wow.
essentially enriching themselves at the expense of other investors.
So even though they were technically losers in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
they were still subject to clawbacks due to their earlier,
Exactly.
albeit illegitimate gains?
Yeah.
That must have been a difficult argument to make,
It was.
especially given the high-stakes nature of the case and the involvement of, sophisticated financial institutions.
It was a groundbreaking legal battle.
Yeah.
That set important precedents for future cases of financial fraud.
Wow.
Picard faced intense opposition, but his persistence and innovative legal strategies ultimately prevailed.
And that's what's so remarkable about this whole recovery effort.
Right.
It wasn't just about retrieving assets. It was about reshaping the legal landscape, creating a framework for holding those who benefit from fraud accountable, even if their involvement was unintentional.
Absolutely. And the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Achieving a 93.71% recovery rate in a case of this magnitude is unheard of.
Yeah, incredibly.
It's a testament to the dedication and skill of those involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it offers a glimmer of hope in a realm often characterized by despair and resignation.
It's truly an inspiring outcome, considering the initial sense of hopelessness that surrounded the case.
Right.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the victims.
Right.
While financial restitution is certainly crucial,
Yes.
it can't fully address the emotional toll of such a devastating betrayal.
You're absolutely right. Many of Madoff's victims weren't just wealthy individuals or institutions.
Right.
They were ordinary people who had entrusted him with their life savings retirement funds, college funds for their children.
Right.
The sense of violation and the loss of financial security had a profound impact on their lives, their relationships, their mental well-being.
It's a reminder that financial fraud isn't just about numbers on a balance sheet.
Right.
It's about real people whose lives are irrevocably altered by these acts of deception.
The ripple effects of Madoff's crimes extended far beyond the immediate financial losses.
Yeah.
It eroded trust in financial institutions, fueled skepticism towards the investment industry, and left many questioning the very foundations of the financial system.
And yet, amidst all of this darkness, the recovery effort offers a ray of light, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
It shows that even in the face of such immense wrongdoing, there's a possibility for justice, for accountability,
Yeah.
for a restoration of faith, however fragile in the system.
It's a testament to the power of collective action,
Yes.
of government agencies, legal teams, and dedicated individuals working tirelessly to right a wrong,
Right.
to reclaim what was stolen,
Yeah.
and to deliver a measure of justice to those who deserved it most.
It's a potent reminder that even when the odds seem insurmountable,
Yeah.
there's always a chance for a positive outcome, for a glimmer of hope to emerge from the ashes of despair.
Absolutely.
But let's not lose sight of the lessons to be learned from this whole saga.
Right.
The Madoff case exposed vulnerabilities not just in individual judgment,
Right.
but in the regulatory system as a whole.
Absolutely. The fact that Madoff was able to operate undetected for so long despite numerous red flags raises serious questions about the effectiveness of regulatory oversight.
So while celebrating the successes of the recovery effort, it's crucial to also examine the systemic failures that allowed this fraud to flourish for so long.
Precisely. We need to delve into the specific regulatory loopholes that Madoff exploited, the missed opportunities for intervention, and the cultural factors that contributed to this environment of complacency.
For instance, Madoff relied heavily on a network of feeder funds to channel investor money into his scheme.
Right.
These funds, often operating with limited transparency and oversight, acted as intermediaries, adding a layer of complexity that made it difficult for regulators to track the true flow of funds.
And there were whistleblowers, individuals who raised concerns about Madoff's operations years before the collapse.
Right.
Unfortunately, their warnings were largely ignored or dismissed,
Wow.
highlighting a critical weakness in the system's ability to respond effectively to early warning signs.
It's a sobering reminder that even the most sophisticated financial systems can be vulnerable to exploitation,
Yeah.
especially when those in positions of power fail to heed the warnings of those who see the cracks in the facade.
And it underscores the crucial role of whistleblowers in exposing wrongdoing and holding those in power accountable. Protecting and empowering those who dare to speak truth to power is essential for safeguarding the integrity of any system.
So what concrete steps could be taken to prevent similar schemes from emerging in the future?
Right.
Is it about stricter regulations, better enforcement, or a fundamental shift in the culture of the financial industry?
It's a complex issue that requires a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
We need to strengthen regulatory oversight,
Okay.
particularly when it comes to hedge funds and other alternative investment vehicles that operate with a high degree of opacity.
And we need to empower regulators with the tools and resources they need to effectively monitor and investigate complex financial transactions, to pierce through the layers of obfuscation that often shield fraudulent activities from scrutiny.
But it's not just about rules and regulations. We also need to foster a culture of transparency and accountability within the financial industry itself.
Right.
This requires a shift in mindset, a move away from the win-at-all-costs mentality that often prioritizes short-term profits over ethical considerations.
And it requires individuals, investors, to adopt a more discerning and skeptical approach,
Yes.
to question assumptions,
That's
to
true.
demand greater transparency,
Right.
and to recognize that there are no guaranteed returns without a corresponding level of risk.
The Madoff case serves as a stark reminder that blind trust, even in seemingly reputable figures, can have devastating consequences.
Yeah.
It's a call to action for all of us, investors, regulators, and industry professionals alike,
Right.
to work together to create a more resilient, transparent, and ethical financial system.
So while we can marvel at the unprecedented recovery achieved in the Madoff case, we can't afford to become complacent.
Yeah.
We must learn from the mistakes of the past and implement safeguards to prevent history from repeating itself.
It's about recognizing that true financial security lies not just in maximizing returns, but in fostering a system built on trust, transparency, and accountability.
Yeah, it's a tall order for sure, but what's interesting to me is that the Madoff case, in a way, forced this system to innovate, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
I mean, the sheer scale of the fraud and the subsequent recovery effort, it led to the development of new legal strategies and asset recovery techniques.
Absolutely. It really served as a crucible,
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible in terms of financial fraud investigation and asset recovery.
Right.
The legal precedents set by Picard and his team, they've had this ripple effect throughout the industry, influencing how similar cases are handled even today.
So it's not just about the money recovered in this specific instance.
Right.
It's about the lasting impact on the legal and regulatory landscape.
Exactly. The Madoff case provided a blueprint,
Okay.
a set of tools and strategies that can be applied to combat financial fraud more effectively in the future.
Right.
It's a legacy that extends far beyond the immediate victims and the billions of dollars recovered.
It's almost like a silver lining, a
Yeah.
positive outcome that emerged from this incredibly dark chapter in financial history.
It's a testament to human resilience, to the determination to seek justice, even when the odds seem insurmountable.
Yeah.
It shows that even in the face of immense betrayal and loss,
Right.
there's a capacity for innovation, for finding creative solutions to complex problems.
And it highlights the importance of learning from our mistakes, of using these experiences, however painful, to build a more robust and resilient system.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that the fight against financial fraud is an ongoing one, a continuous process of adaptation and improvement.
Right.
We can't afford to rest on our laurels and assume that we've solved the problem once and for all.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
What are the key takeaways, the lessons that we can apply to our own financial lives and to our understanding of the broader financial system?
Well, on an individual level, I think the Madoff case reinforces the importance of due diligence, of questioning assumptions and diversifying investments.
Right.
It's a reminder that no investment is entirely risk-free,
Yeah.
and that even the most reputable figures can be capable of deception.
And it highlights the need to be wary of promises that sound too good to be true,
Right.
to resist the allure of quick and easy returns, and to approach investment decisions with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely.
On a systemic level, the Madoff case underscores the need for continuous improvement in regulatory oversight,
Yes.
for closing loopholes, for empowering whistleblowers,
Right.
and for fostering a culture of transparency and accountability within the financial industry.
It's about creating a system that's not just reactive but proactive, a system that's designed to prevent these types of massive frauds from occurring in the first place.
And it's about recognizing that true financial security is not just about individual wealth,
Right.
but about the integrity of the system as a whole.
Absolutely.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the Madoff scandal, it's clear that this is a story with multiple layers.
Yeah.
A story of greed and deception, of loss and resilience, but also a story of hope and innovation.
It's a story that reminds us of the complexities of the financial world,
Right.
the human capacity for both good and evil,
Yeah.
and the ongoing need for vigilance, for adaptation, and for a collective commitment to building a more ethical and resilient financial system.
It's a story that leaves us with a lot to ponder. How can we as individuals become more informed and discerning investors?
Right.
How can we as a society advocate for a financial system that prioritizes transparency, accountability, and the protection of investors?
These are important questions.
These are questions worth considering as we navigate the ever-evolving landscape of finance.
The Madoff case, as tragic as it was, has ultimately provided valuable insights and tools that can help us build a more robust and equitable financial future.
Yeah.
It's a legacy that we can all learn from and contribute to as we strive for a system that serves the best interests of all.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. What steps can you take both in your personal financial decisions and as an engaged citizen to contribute to a more transparent and accountable financial world? Until next time, keep diving deep.